Megan Brown from St. Cloud, Minnesota, and I hope you like this tape.
This next story is about a little girl with a big imagination. It's also a story about little monsters with big noses. But really, it's a story about telling stories about telling stories. And how a 9-year-old girl named Megan turned some monsters named Burbles into a book. Here now, the adventurous art of Megan Brown and the Burbles.
I just love to read a lot, and so that's how I started writing. My name is Megan Brown. I'm 9 years old, and I live in St. Cloud, Minnesota. My series of stories first began when I was in kindergarten, and I wrote 7 stories, and they were all about holidays. I thought that if I wrote something about a character that I made up, it might be more interesting, and so I thought of the Burbles. A Burble is a creature that has a big nose and a big stomach, and it also has a very big heart, and it cares about people. I base the characters on my family. In real life, my sister's named Ashley, and she loves to play the piano.
Megan put the character Ashlyn in the story for me.
That night, Ashlyn spent 3 hours working on her Beethoven piece. And in real life, my brother's named Tommy, and he loves to play hockey in real life because it's just awesome. I like skating. And Tom Mill worked for hours at hockey with his father, Kelvin. And so I'm Megalina on the story, and I love to write stories. Megalina is trying to find her career, her special talent. If you were me, what would you be? Megalina asked Ashlyn. In real life, I always wanted to be an author. So I had all these stories I had written, and I wanted to get them published. So I started writing to authors and illustrators, asking them for advice. I got a lot of rejection letters, and they said, "We're sorry, but we do not publish books written by children." I looked under publishers. I was calling about 20 different places. I just kept calling and calling, and I never gave up.
Mark Haverhill, may I help you?
Well, Megan was pretty persistent.
What do you know?
I'm Mark Haverhill. I'm the publisher at Best of Small Press Publishers. The publisher organizes the making of the book and the selling of the book. We decided that we would publish Megan's work mostly because it looked like it was unique. What Megan brought to us was a set of manuscripts for different holidays with the Burbles characters in it. We wanted a general book which would introduce the Burbles as characters.
So then I wrote the Rainbow Burbles, introducing the Burbles. The Rainbow Burbles are cute little creatures who live in the city of Fruit Cloud.
Megan's second book is called The Christmas Burbles. Generally what happens with a book, Megan will receive from us the instruction to do, this is the next book in the series. She will then make artwork for the number of pages we tell her to fit that manuscript.
It might be best in general just to leave the lettering white.
At that point, we have the designer place the words on the pages with the artwork, usually with our film producer. That film producer then produces a 4-color film for a color printer so that it can go through the presses and come up with a color book.
I'm working on my 3rd book now called The Easter Burbles. I have finished my text, and I have figured out which part is going to go on each page. When I see my book in the bookstores, I feel proud, and I feel good that I have finally published the book after all these years. The Rainbow Burbles are cute little creatures who live in the city of Fruit Cloud. Their house is on the corner of Banana Boulevard and Strawberry Street.
Megan Brown of St. Cloud is going places. She's only 9 years old, and she's already published her very first book.
In kindergarten, I started writing, and I started writing before I started reading. And I just wrote little stories like 1 page long or 2 pages, and then I started big books, and they started making more sense.
A series she called the Burble Books turned into a 16-page creation titled The Rainbow Burbles. She based the characters on her family. Megan wrote the text and did all the illustrations herself. The next step was to get it published.
I never thought it would be carried through, and I thought it would be something she was going through a phase, and she wrote this book and wanted it published, and You know, in a month she'd be on to something else.
Megan scanned the yellow pages for printing companies and wrote to her favorite authors who gave her advice on how to get published. She also wrote to publishers who sent rejection letters saying they didn't work with young authors. Finally, this year, Image Publishing of Minneapolis agreed to produce the book. A dream come true for any author, especially one so young.
You have to have patience, and it took a long time. And then it's worth waiting because when your book is published, it's like, wow.
While Megan's achieved her goal, it's only the beginning. She promises more Burble adventures in the years ahead. In St. Cloud, Lori Aoki, Minnesota 9 News.
Now, limited copies of the Rainbow Burbles are available at Media Play in St. Cloud. A hardcover version will be released nationwide in April.
A book you want to get published? A 9-year-old St. Cloud girl knows just how to get it done.
Megan Brown's only in the 3rd grade, but when she decided she wanted to get her series of stories on the Burble family published, well, there was no stopping her.
Who has this divided by 7?
In school, Megan and her classmates concentrate on all 3 R's.
I have 12. Who has it plus 3 more?
But after school, it's reading and writing she loves. Megan started writing books before she could actually write. She was only 5.
I told my mom what to write, and she wrote it down.
Now the family computer is where Megan's Burble books come to life. Her first book, The Rainbow Burbles, is all about following your dreams.
I hope that all the kids understand that they can be what they want to be.
It's advice Megan's taken to heart.
Megan told me the first day of school that she was going to have a book published. And that was her dream, and she was going to do that.
She really wanted a book, a real, true book.
Megan's mom soon discovered just how determined her daughter was. All by herself, Megan had written or called nearly every children's author or publisher she could find.
I was calling publishing places and asking them, would you consider my book as publication?
And despite a box full of rejection letters, Megan never gave up.
When she first got the call and they said they would publish it, we were like, really?
Now Megan's corner office in the family room is a little more crowded. After all, a published author needs her creative space. Now, the Rainbow Burbles just came out in hardcover, and it's available in bookstores throughout the state. It's published by the Best of Small Press company in Minneapolis. Amazing little girl.
I suppose that corner of the house now is a tax write-off because of computer and all
They're
that.
going to try, I think.
What is a burble, Raylan?
I know. I knew you were going to ask that. And a burble, I'm told by Megan, is a little make-believe character. They have big stomachs, big noses, and they don't wear any clothes.
And they don't, well, they probably don't have to when they're colored like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll read this and tell you about it at 10.
Megan Brown of St. Cloud is about to release her 2nd Burbles book and is already working on a 3rd. Lori Aoki has a preview of the upcoming Christmas Burbles.
My stamp album, it holds all my stamps. There are hundreds of stamps in it, and I love it.
Megan Brown's stamp collecting book is just one of her prized possessions. The 4th grader has already published her own book. A 2nd will be in bookstores next month. She owes her success to a colorful group of characters she calls Burbles. Her newest book, The Christmas Burbles, is just one in a series of holiday Burble books.
There is so many stories you could write about one, a character. You could do the fall Burbles, anything you can do with a character.
Success hasn't spoiled Megan. She still helps out with jobs around school, even in the rain.
You want to hook it?
Megan is just one of the group. She's just one of us, and one of the kids. She's real modest and humble about her attention.
The library here at Megan's elementary school has 6 copies of The Rainbow Burbles, Megan's first book. But it's so popular, none of the books are on the shelves today. All 6 are checked out.
I wrote all these when I was in kindergarten.
Every day after school, Megan works on her Burble books. She's busy trying to make an October 1st deadline for her 3rd book, The Easter Burbles. Megan writes all the stories and does the illustrations herself using simple Crayola markers.
How about just up to like here?
Sure.
Because
that's a good idea. And then he's working again.
And every once in a while, she'll ask her mom for some advice. The Burbles have opened a lot of doors for Megan. She's given a seminar on how to get a book published, and she'll work as a consultant with her publisher on other children's books. But all the success and fame haven't changed her or her love of writing.
This is all still fun, you know. I don't think I'm ever going to get sick of it.
Chapter Burble books could be down the road, but for now, this little girl looks forward to sharing all her holiday Burble adventures. In St. Cloud, Lori Aoki, Minnesota 9 News.
And Megan will be featured on the Nickelodeon cable TV network on October 13th. Now, to find out where you can buy a copy of the Christmas Burbles, call Best of Small Publishers at 1-800-708-0558.
Yeah, I remember meeting her when her first Burbles book came out. She's changed a lot. She's grown up a lot.
It's so funny. One of the photographers who worked on the story, John Overby, comes up and goes, look what I got for my son, Aaron, who's not even old enough to read yet, but he's excited about the Burbles.
Yeah, they're cute.